Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
He's alive!
Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is a little bit different. It's not really, it's not encounters, but we do, we discuss Mothman a little bit. We also get into the men and women that serve this country, as in our police force, the trials and tribulations that they often go through, and a current situation going down in Tracy, California. Bodies are popping up left and right. It's a little ridiculous. They're thinking serial killer, but you know, who knows? We don't really know yet until things until said person is caught or whatever. But there has been multiple dead bodies found, so we discussed that a little bit, and then we discussed personal things here and there, talk about my catfish situation that I had a few years ago. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun talking to these two ladies. So I think you should go check their podcast out. It's early on Wednesday. And they talk about true crime, cryptids, ghosts, and stuff like that. So it's a good podcast. I enjoy listening to it, so I think you will too. It started out just Lavendar, and Lavendar has become a really good friend of mine. I adore her, and I think the world of her. And I think she's an amazing person. I think Stacy is an amazing person. Such a sweetheart of a person. So I think both of them together make a pretty good combo. So I think you should check it out for sure. You should definitely check it out. And show them some love on their socials, which they state at the end, beginning and the end, I think. So Lavender's Murder Juice on Instagram. And Stacy is the witch with all the gifts 666. So it's it's gonna be it's an episode 94, man. I'm fucking, it's amazing to me that I've stayed creating this long. 100's gonna be coming up here pretty shortly. Also, if you're listening to this today, episode 93 came out yesterday. I mean, the day of recording, it hasn't come out yet. I'm me recording right this minute. It hasn't come out yet, but by the time you're able to listen to this, episode 93 has already dropped on Patreon. So if you're not a Patreon member, obviously you can't check it out. But if you're interested in topics like CERN, Oak Ridge, Mandela effect, the food industry here in America, it's a pretty interesting discussion, and I think you'll enjoy it. Patreon's only $5 a month. It's basically nothing. If I get enough people, I'll probably drop the price anyway, because Patreon wouldn't let me do $1, because they said that I wouldn't make enough to pay them because Patreon takes a percentage. But if you guys are interested in merch, it's www.wheretheweirdonесarepodcast.com. There you can get into the store. You can see the photo gallery of people who have gotten merch. You can see the blog, which I'm gonna enter a new one this week at some point. You can leave a rating and a review on the website too for the show, specifically. And yeah, so Patreon is weirdos only. So just type in Patreon/weirdos only in your browser and it should come up. If not, the link is in the show notes and it's in my link tree, which you can find on Instagram and Facebook, I believe. If you're interested in being featured on the show to tell your spooky stories or to have a discussion like we have today, hit me up at wheretheweirdonесare@gmail.com, Instagram where_the_weird_ones_are, and where the weird ones are on Facebook. Pretty easy to find. So yeah, it's been such a blessing, and I am so happy to have you here. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Um, it's been a wild journey. So coming up quick here, April 13th, I will be vending in Hamlet, North Carolina at Encounter Quest. Be my first time that I am selling my hot sauce. So if you're in the Hamlet area, you should definitely come down and check it out. There's a lot of good speakers. Ron Moorhead's going to be special guest. So it should be a good time. Come check everybody out. There's going to be a ton of vendors. There's going to be a ton of speakers, and it'll be a good time. So, but yeah, so that's April 13th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 5 p.m., one or the other. So also, June 8th, I will be vending at 40 Fest right here in Sanford, Maine. So if you're in the Maine area, New England, definitely come check that out. That's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. At the Memorial Gym right here in Sanford. So again, that's June 8th. So mark it on your calendars if you're interested. And yeah, like I said, go check out Early on Wednesday's podcast. And real quick, I should probably say what you get as a Patreon member. So you get a free coffee mug. The minute you sign up, I send the coffee mug out as soon as I see that that a new sign up. You get early access to the show. So like this specific episode will come out the same exact time as episode 93 on Patreon. And then, yeah, so you get a day early access to the regular episodes. And you get Conspiracy Tuesdays, like I just was talking about. And you get a new segment that I'm starting, which I'm gonna hopefully have that episode for next week. So that will take place at I think I'm gonna alternate it, or I'll just do it on Tuesdays. So like on the weeks that I don't have Conspiracy Tuesday, you'll get a story time episode. And yeah, I think that's it. That's pretty much it. Oh, you get access to the chat room, which is in the website, and you need to be a Patreon member to get the password to that chat room. So I mean, not that that's like, ooh, you should be a Patreon member to get into the chat room. Like it's just it's it's just a chat room. It's not anything special. But I figured I'd add that just because Discord confuses the shit out of me. And I know people are probably listening like, how does it confuse you? Because people know how to use it. And I don't know. I don't think I have the time to like really like to figure it out, I guess. But well, anyways, I hope you guys have a good day, good good night, whatever time you decide to listen to this. I also appreciate you. But if you like today's show, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Tell people about it. Word of mouth is would be fantastic. And leave a rating and review if whatever app you're listening to this on allows both. If I see a review, I'll definitely read it. I know Apple does reviews, so if your app doesn't allow it, I would greatly appreciate it if you just went to the website real quick and threw in a review there. Reviews I will read in the intro of every episode. So if there's a new one, I'll read it. So with that being said, let's just jump into it, shall we? With Lavendar and Stacy.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Weird, get weird.
What's up, party people? Welcome
What's up?
to Where the Weird Ones Are. Today I have two guests who have been on the show already once before, and they are here once again. Lavendar and Stacy. Why don't you guys say hello?
Hello.
Hello. That was for you, Kev.
I love it. I love it. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good. A lot of exciting things are going on, and some kind of mysterious and weird, and some just straight up batshit crazy.
Nice. So, you guys are now doing a podcast together?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So, what is the name of the podcast?
So it's my original podcast early on Wednesday. Nothing's really changed there. Still doing same stories, same kind of, all over the place stuff, but Stacy approached me and wanted to learn how to podcast, and we kind of collaborated and came up with the idea of her co-hosting for a while and seeing kind of how it goes.
Yeah,
Nice.
it started out as me asking Lav if she wanted to do a guest, like have a guest. And then it went from being a guest to co-hosting, and I think we're doing pretty good considering we've started to build a really fun chemistry, and we can laugh at each other and with each other. So so I think it's doing really, really well.
Yeah, definitely had some bumps in the road with my laryngitis, and then working with all new systems and equipments and stuff. But we've had a lot of cocks in the mouth, but here we are.
A lot of cocks in the mouth. We talk about this guy that we like. He's a little bit of a boy toy, wouldn't you say, Lav? And shows up with the pumping the iron without the shirt on sometimes, and
I have no idea who you're talking about.
We even knighted him and called him Sir Kevin.
I heard that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But so what was the idea behind? So you reached out to Lavendar, right? to be a
Yeah.
guest on her show, right?
Yeah.
And then you decided to do the show together. Now, are you trying to just like learn and make your own podcast? Is that what the plan is?
No. Actually, the plan is I would like to stay with Lavender. I'd like us to build her original podcast and start getting, more followers, doing her and I both like the idea of doing unique stories. They may be stories that you've already heard, like our last episode, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. But it also is stories that you may not know all of the information for, or you don't know anything about it at all, like what I want to talk about tonight. And we've got some pretty unique projects in the works. And I think it's going to set us apart from a lot of the true crime, paranormal, cryptid podcasts.
Okay.
So Stacy
Well-
was very apprehensive to the cryptid idea, and we recorded Mothman, actually, so that'll be coming out soon. And she is now obsessed.
Nice.
Now I'm obsessed, yeah, because well, I didn't know anything about them, and so when we were talking about it, I'm like, well, why not? This is something new I could learn, and kind of how I approached the aliens when we were listening to when Amanda from One Nothing collaborated with and Vicky from Miss Spooky Obsessed, and when they collaborated with Farah when she was doing Conversation Cabin. So that now I start looking around for aliens and things and these, and starting to realize our world is not black and white. It's not gray. It's this wide rainbow of just things that we don't even know about or understand. So I'm ready to believe.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Now it's weird because I heard I heard how Point Pleasant got its name, right? And supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, or if it's just like a freaking, because it just sounds kind of lazy. But back when George Washington was, I think it was during the Revolutionary War, they were coming into Point Pleasant in Virginia or West Virginia. Is it West Virginia or Virginia?
West Virginia.
West Virginia. And he goes, oh, well, this is a pleasant point. And that's supposedly how it got its name. But I don't know if that's like accurate or not, or if that's just somebody like being trying to be funny.
I mean, I feel like that would be pretty accurate.
Oh, I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah, right. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of the names for towns and stuff have been obviously like thought about. So like every once in a while, I can see how you could just be like, oh well, George Washington said this was a pleasant point, so let's call it Pleasant Point.
It really wasn't that pleasant, though.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Not when the French and Indian Wars were going on and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and Chief Cornstalks,
Indian tribe that they like slaughtered there, and that chief,
the Shawnee.
we talked about it on the episode. There was the chief of that tribe that cursed the land, and a lot of people believe that's where Mothman came from.
Yeah, because they just came. I think they were at a meeting or something, and they just like came in and was like he stood up and he's just like, they're like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
And they killed his son with him too and stuff like that.
Yeah, killed his son right in front of him.
It's terrible, terrible stuff, terrible stuff.
It reminds me of Game of Thrones.
Like the curse and stuff, or
that That's funny. I thought about that when we were recording. When some of the reports said that it looked like a flying dragon man, I thought,
Yeah.
I would love to be the mother of dragons. Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm the mother of slugs because they don't do anything and they do it very slowly when they do. Um, but I thought about that. I'm not a Game of Thrones watcher, but I do know about the mother of dragons.
Yes. So what was the real quick though, like not to give your whole episode away, but what was the first Mothman sighting? Because I don't think I even know.
Do you remember, Stacy?
It was the grave diggers.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was the grave diggers.
The grave diggers, and they saw the big
Actually,
old
the first one was. I'd have to go back and look because I think the first one was China, where the dam
You're right.
broke.
China.
Yes, where the dam broke. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the grave diggers, and then it just progressed from there.
Yeah, the grave diggers was in Point Pleasant, or like at the next town over from Point Pleasant. And then I think the very first one was 20 or 30 years before that in China when that dam killed like 15,000 people.
Yeah, yeah. And then that made me ask about the tsunami that we had, if maybe there were sightings before, but I even went looking for it last night and there was nothing that was said around it about the tsunami.
Interesting. I heard there's only one like real victim of the Mothman. Like I know like he's the harbinger of doom, right? Like he shows up right before like a tragedy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard so I could be incorrect. I could just think it's Vermont. But it could have just said Virginia. But there was a guy that him and his dog were outside.
I think that was in Virginia.
Yeah, okay. So, and like, I guess the dog is like the one and only like real, or was the first victim of Mothman
as far
or something
as
like that.
I know, there was no, like, the Mothman never hurt anyone himself or herself.
Right.
What do you think? Is it a man or a woman? It's definitely a man. It's definitely a man.
Maybe. So I have a theory of Mothman. I think that it's possible that it is an extraterrestrial inside a spacesuit.
Oh. We talk about whether it could be alien or not. I think me and Stacy are both leaning towards mutated human.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning toward a mutant, but the grinning man, I'm convinced that is his keeper.
And
they noticed him. They noticed him from the stars and came down and either harnessed him or just observed him, one of the two. But it's not completely of this world, but it's not completely not of this world.
Well, he's right there.
Oh yeah.
If you can see it. I had a gentleman on, his episode comes out on Friday. His name's Dave. He is the host of Cryptid Cocktail Party. And he was like, what the hell is that? That looks like The Grudge. He's like, it looks like she's coming out of the frickin'... But yeah, from like the how far back you can't see like the details of him and stuff. So I could see, like, it took me a minute. I was like, what are you talking about? That's definitely Mothman and the moon behind him. And he's like, no, it's definitely hair in its head, just like
I like The Grudge too, though. I wouldn't even be sad if it was either one.
Right.
But if you look at it close enough, you can tell at the bottom that it's not hair because her hair, Samara's hair goes like this. He's like, and he, twists out like a wing. So, not to say anybody, is wrong, but I saw wings.
You know those like smokestacks? Fucking, they look like big ass chimneys in the middle of like some cities and shit.
Yes.
So I was at work. It was like 3:00 in the morning, and I pulled up to this to a corral, and I got out to open. It's freaking downpouring, and for whatever reason, I don't know what the hell possessed me to do so, but I just look up, and it looked like right on top of that smokestack there was a person standing, and then as soon as I looked up, it fucking like moved out of the way. But it could have just been my imagination. It was 3 o'clock in the morning,
How long ago was
and I
this?
still wasn't fully awake. So,
How long ago was this? Because, I mean, bad shit happens like a year after, so you only got a year left, bro.
so I think it was November-ish,
So
maybe October.
well, we'll have to do another show before you die.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I think I've lived a good life, I think.
Well, I'm going to jump in here and tell you I'm not ready. I'm not ready for me. I'm not ready for you. I thoroughly enjoy everything that you do, and you crack me the hell up. So if you take off, what is Lav and I going to talk about? I mean, we talked about, me being a witch, both of us having tits. I mean, and then,
I have tits.
Yeah,
Can you
do
milk
you?
me? Can you milk me, Greg? I have tits.
You guys can talk about, I was going to say, y'all can talk about having it as much as you want, but I went from a triple D to a G. So Torrid is gonna give me my gun holder for like $200.
Jeez.
Fucking hey, man.
I'm like, if I was closer to 70, I'd be like, fuck this. I'm
Just
going
got
without. I don't care. Just make sure I have a long enough shirt, so they don't pop out by my knees.
You have to wear a moo all the time.
I will say,
hell no. My mother and my grandmother wore moo-moos. Fuck that. No, thank you. I'd rather flash, the short people that go by.
Oh God.
back in 2016, I briefly dated this woman, right? And she had H's, and she was just like this little tiny thing, right? And it didn't look like they were even like that big from like just her clothes and stuff. And then, the first night, when she unleashed them, they just go boom like that right out of her shirt, and I was like, holy fuck, what is that? It's a fucking monster. Get it. It's gonna attack me. And
See,
she's just like, they're H's, and I was like, holy fucking shit.
Because I work with so many men, like there's a lot of us females that are drivers, but we go out to the shops that are 99% men. And so I wear wife beaters under my t-shirts because I don't want them to be able to see how large I actually am. And so yesterday I got brake fluid on the front of my shirt. From the calipers. They don't we have a shop that just refuses to empty them. And so I was standing in our parking lot and I'm like, shit, this is yucky. It feels gross. So I take my shirt off and here's my wife beater. And then here's my giant bra. And there's one other lesbian that works with me. And she turned around and she looked at me and she's like, God damn, where have you been hiding them? And I'm like, you never noticed? She's like, no, I thought you were like a D, like a C or a D. She's like, what the fuck are those? And it made me think of Austin Powers with the guns that come out.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The fembots.
The fembots. Yeah.
Oh, we should totally dress up like that for Halloween. You down,
I
Kev?
dare you.
You gotta do it with us.
I have to. Oh, I'll do it. I don't care. I just friggin' made a video of me in a fucking tutu, so.
Yes, which I saw. Or not saw, excuse me. I heard about. I heard quite a bit about that.
Yeah, I just freaking I put it in my story. I was like, all right, I'm put it in my story. I'm gonna, fly below the radar. And then David's like, "Hey, anybody look at Kevin's story?" And then frickin' Amanda posted it, and then she reposted it when it was about to be up and like go away. And then she reposted it again. I was like, I messaged her. I was like, I fucking hate you.
Well, we'll do this for Halloween. We'll do a Halloween special. You could be Austin, and we'll be the fembots. And shit, I'll even go and get me like a long blonde wig.
Ooh,
Mm.
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, considering I've never been blonde. I've never been blonde. I like blondes. Wink, wink.
Have you ever kept your hair down? Because the whole time I've known you, you've had the mohawk.
Yes, actually, I did not cut my hair like this until I was 40. So from my teenage years all the way through my 20s to my 30s, I had hair that went past my butt. And it was very thick and it was long, but it was a bitch, absolute bitch to brush. And I don't know what it is about women, because this has never been a thing for me, is the women I was dating when my hair was that long, they would want to brush my hair. So they'd want to sit on the side of the bed and brush my hair. And I'm like, this is not sexy to me. Is this sexy to you? Oh yeah, this is sexy. I'm like,
I think it's comforting. I like to brush people's hair.
Me too.
Oh no, it wasn't even comforting. It was weird, because she's like, I feel like I'm taking care of you. I'm like, you really want to take care. You really want to take care of me. We can put the brush away, is what we can do.
Yeah, that's a little weird. But it's comforting to me to brush other people's hair, but I don't care about taking care of you. It's all about me.
Yeah, to me,
I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. If you want to brush my hair and that's all about you, I'm okay with that. I'll bring a bottle of whiskey and I may fall asleep. We can go to town.
Well, my hair usually isn't like really long enough to brush, but I like it when they like play with my hair, like when my partners play with my hair, like I'll fall asleep and I like to brush my partner's hair just because like I feel like it's quality time. You know what I mean? It's just
True.
You don't have anything going on, you're just in each other's presence, you know?
Yeah, that's I did like when my hair was long, like I have no hair back there at all. But when my hair was long, I loved, and the only person that ever did it right is my wife. But I loved when someone would just, I got, I got, what did they call that? Bait and switch. I got baited and switched, because she showed me a Corvette, and when I, showed up to buy it, it was a Pinto.
Oh,
ouch!
I feel like that's my dating life.
Oh, well, see, Lav, I keep telling you, you don't need a brother. That's your problem. You don't need a brother.
I like dick too much, and I'm not licking pissy. Like, I don't like it. The texture is so weird. No, not for me.
Okay, so that's why you have to find the right lesbian, because the right lesbian will treat you like a pillow princess. You won't do anything unless you want to. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If I get that with men already, I wouldn't have to find a special one. I just have to find a man.
It's kind of natural, especially for sorry, Kev, especially for lesbians, that it's kind of a reward to attract a first time. So to attract a woman who had only been heterosexual, it's kind of it's like a badge of honor. So
how long does that last though before I'm expected to repay the favor?
Mine lasted 9 years.
I don't know.
And then it wasn't. Well, no, and then it wasn't even that I wanted her to take care. I didn't want her to do anything. But with the right right person, right woman, you're looking at flowers, wine, chocolate, dinner dates, other things.
Then
That sounds like a right man too. So
Right, that's
Well,
what I'm thinking.
yeah,
I'm like,
that's a right man too. But I don't know anything
no.
about guys. I'll be honest. I really don't.
Hey, I have a funny story real quick for you. That has to do with like kind of sort of the same topic. So I was catfished one time.
No shit.
Don't,
I
don't
heard
remember.
this. You told me this, I think.
Did I tell you?
I think so.
Probably when we were in Pennsylvania, right?
I
Probably.
think so, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, I was on POF, Plenty of Fish, dating site, back when it was actually a dating site, not like, hey, let's, go somewhere and fuck. But,
I thought that's what Tinder was for.
yeah.
That's the new, the new fucking dating app.
Yeah. So this woman pops up.
Dated in forever.
Yeah. Dating kind of sucks.
It does.
Sometimes with the wrong people when you're it's just when you've healed, you've done a lot of work with your own self, and then you're like having a conversation with somebody who hasn't done work on
And you could
themselves.
definitely tell within like a
Yeah,
minute.
you can clearly tell.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. So right now I'm having a hard time with accepting or not accepting. I don't know what it is, like letting everything go, like just letting go. Like I'm like way too comfortable with being alone, if that makes sense. Like I still have work to do within myself.
Yeah.
And so like I get irritated. I mean, you know what I mean?
Hey everyone, I'm Shelly.
And I'm Eric.
And we're the hosts of Gruesome and Unnatural, a true crime podcast about murder, cold cases, missing people, and just unnatural.
Join us every Monday where Shelly tells me gruesome stories that absolutely with me.
Yeah, subscribe and listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
But anyways, so I was catfished on Plenty of Fish. This woman pops up on my profile. I talk to her like a regular conversation, just like it's any other woman. And then she starts talking about how she's in a changing room or whatever. And I go, oh, all right, well, I'll talk to you later. And she's like, she goes, actually, my fantasy is to get fucked in the changing room at JCPenney. And I was like, oh, cool. Like I wasn't like entertaining it or anything. Like I was just like, this girl's fucking nasty. Like this is gonna be like a fuck on first date kind of thing. You know what I mean? And she goes, she's like, would you? And I was like, yeah, after I get to know you and stuff like that. And she's like, she goes, I don't know, I can't remember what happened, but she's like, I think I asked her for pictures, or no, she asked me for a picture of like a nude, and I was like, well, send me
She wanted to see
something.
the equipment.
Yeah, and I was like, well, send me something, and she goes, well, I can only email them. I don't have them on my phone. I have them on my computer or something like that. And I was like, okay. So she sends me 3 pictures. All right. So I open the email and I scroll. First picture is just, the backside, kind of like bent over, fishnet stockings, and I was like, that butt looks weird. And I scroll to the next one, and it's like on the knees, but still just the butt. And I was just like, that butt looks fucking weird to me. And then the third picture, ass cheeks wide open and a nut sack right there. And I was just like, oh my God, this is a dude.
Oh, shit.
So I message her, or him, I should say. I message him and I go, yo, what the fuck? And he goes, oh, you didn't like it? And I go, no, what made you think that I would? And he goes, well, a lot of straight guys say I'm better than women. I was like, if a straight guy is telling you that you're better than a woman, he's not straight. I can tell you that right
Thank
fucking
you.
now. And and then I said, "Do you think it's fair to the woman that you're pretending to be right now? And you're like saying sexual shit to all these people and like putting like what if I didn't like entertain the idea to the
Mhm.
fact to the point where I got these pictures to find out that you're a dude, and I just automatically associate this woman's face with the nasty shit that you were saying. Like
And then
that's
you
not
run
fair
into
to
her
her."
somewhere. Could you
Yeah,
Oh
imagine?
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes, "Oh, you're gonna make me cry," and I said, "Don't be gay."
That I
But
can
no,
say this. I can say this from being a lifetime member of the LGBTQ plus
yeah,
community. That is something about trans people. Not all of them, because it's just like not all lesbians are all gay men. Not it's not all the same. But when you
yeah,
have a trans person that refuses to say from the beginning, "Hey, look, I like you. I want to get to know you, but this is you should know this. I was born this gender, not this gender."
yeah,
And they should give you the opportunity to decide if it's something you can handle, not fucking shock you with a big old sack and you're looking for boobs. That's not right. It's not right at all.
yeah, yeah. That's- uh, and then I found out that he was married too to
Oh
a woman.
wow. Double whammy. You have
Yeah,
great luck.
Oh,
because because the email he used to send me was his actual email, his real email, and his name was associated with it. So I looked up his name on Facebook, found out that he was married to a woman with two
Oh, I was gonna
kids.
ask if it was a woman.
So yeah. So I messaged him. I think I messaged him like the next day, and I said, and I used his wife's name, and I go, "Do you think that she?" I was like, "Does she know that you try and catfish men on fucking dating
I wonder if
sites?"
he's using her pictures.
You know what? I didn't look that far into it. I just noticed that he had a wife, and well, I didn't know no because she was blonde. The pictures that he was using was a brunette,
Mm.
actually. And I think if I remember correctly, because this was years ago now, and I think she was actually like really attractive, which made me feel even weirder. And I'm like, you got something that you need to work out in your head because number one, like look, if you like men, then go be with a man. Like, don't put her through like a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
that's like she's cheating's cheating no matter what.
Right.
If you're
Right.
with
Oh
her and
yeah.
you're having sex with a man, like that's still cheating.
Yeah.
I have a
So,
friend that is F2M trans, and when he was still she, um, and was identifying as a lesbian, that was something that would be a conversation that would happen between her and the woman at the time. Is like, I identify as a lesbian because
mm,
I'm attracted to women, but personally I don't feel like a woman. So as he was um transforming, as he was
mm-hmm,
going through, he tried to be a very butch lesbian, but even very butch lesbians they still have some feminine qualities.
yeah,
But he did not. So the woman he had been with, I want to say 6 or 7 years at the time, um, sat her down, talked to her, told her what was going on and how he felt. And she said, I love you. I wish you well, but I can never be attracted to you in a man's body.
That's
Which
hard. That would be
to
hard.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was, but at the same time, there was such a level of respect between the two of them that they're still friends now. But he's gone on. He's married to another woman, and by surrogacy, they have three little boys.
Oh.
So it's a nice. I mean, but the fact that he was always straightforward. Hey, this is where I am, this is where I've been, and this is what I'm looking for. And I've always respected that.
Yeah, there isn't too many people that are like that, which is sad.
No.
I don't know if it's people that are just being dishonest or if they really don't know themselves well enough to be able to say, this is who I am and this is what I want, because they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people need to do some motherfucking shadow work out there before they go and hurt people. Because hurt people, you know. If you don't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else, you know?
Well, and two, to put a serious spin back on it, excuse me. If you're like you, Kev, you were catfished by a guy that was either was either transitioning into a female or just that was his fetish, but that could turn you into somebody who may have been accepting of alternative lifestyles. Now it's like, you know what? Fuck you and your alternative lifestyle. If this is the kind of shit you're going to do, then no, I can't support it. And that turns into a mob mentality. And then that's what turns into people, unfortunately, like Brandon Tina and Matthew Shepard. You end up losing your life because you couldn't be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's I hate generalizing. Like for me personally, like I know like that could have turned into a different situation with a certain person, certain kind of person or whatever, but like for me personally, like I don't like generalizations. Like I don't like all men this or all women that or certain demographic is this or certain demographic is that kind of thing, you know what I mean? There's always going to be a bad egg or bad eggs in every ethnic group or every sexual oriented group or whatever gender. There's always going to be certain people that just kind of like throw the stick in the mud kind of thing, you know what I mean? I think people are inherently good, but I think a lot of us get broken and kind of lose our way a lot of times.
I agree with that.
And then you have that rare rotten egg that from conception was just born bad. I'm a big fan of nature versus nurture, so
yeah. So you think like so you're saying like you think that people can be born to in a certain way, so like no matter what they how they're raised, they're still apt to turn out the way that they turn out.
Yes. Because there is do you guys know who Carrie Stainer is? Or who Carrie Stainer's brother was?
I've heard the name sounds familiar. I can't put anything to it right now though.
Lav?
Yeah, I know who it is. Are you wanting me to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do at work with someone, and not you, because you know I love you, you and me right here. But when someone at work says something stupid, I'll turn to them and just be like, "Yeah."
I mean, didn't he like kill his family?
No. Carrie Stainer's brother was Steven Stainer.
Yes. I know. Yes, I know who.
Okay.
I know what this is.
Yes, the Yosemite Park killer. Yes.
Yes, he was jealous of his brother's limelight because his brother came back from, being abducted after a certain amount of years, and his brother had a Lifetime movie about his situation.
Mhm.
And then he was going to kill his girlfriend and his girlfriend's children, but then he came across this woman and her 2 daughters, or no, it was her daughter and her daughter's friend.
Friend, yes.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary out about him, and as he's talking to the prison psychiatrist, he tells him right out, I can remember as early as 6 or 7 years old of drawing pictures of women with no clothes on, being shot, being stabbed, being tied up. And when the psychiatrist asked him, well, what do you think with your brother being abducted and sexually abused, did this create that within you? And he said, no, I always wanted that. I think Stephen coming back and getting all of that media attention, I think is what gave Carrie the green light. That now we're going to transition from fantasy to reality.
Mm-hmm.
And he truly did not care if he got arrested. He wasn't trying to hide. He was just moving around doing whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah, and when the police were doing their investigations, they just looked right over him. They didn't even like
Yeah, they didn't even like consider that it was him.
Yeah,
Because his brother was a hero.
Right, until the woman, the ranger, right? She
Yes.
ended up headless, and then they matched his truck to him. So and they're like, "Oh, this guy."
Yeah, and also too, he was kind of dropping little hints everywhere, like, oh, Don Pedro, where he left the youngest and the last victim of the where he left the daughter. I fished. Well, I didn't fish. I read a book while my family fished in that area.
Yeah.
And it's very open, and the highway just goes right through there. So he would dump her body in the middle of the day. And there were fishermen and there were people, traffic. But like you said, Kevin, they just overlooked him. He was very unassuming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's weird. The police they're not perfect, but time and time again in like these murder investigations or any like fucking weird crimes, they tend to drop the ball 9 times out of 10. I don't know if you've seen the American Nightmare documentary that just came out on Netflix.
Yes.
Because I thought I knew that story, right? I thought I knew that story. I didn't. It's a completely different, it's a completely different woman. But she made me cry. I'll tell you that.
I'm on the fence though on if the boyfriend was part of that or not.
Yeah.
I feel like he had something to do with it.
I do too.
I think, yeah, maybe. There's a part of me that kind of thinks that, but I also kind of think that FBI agent that was dating his ex-girlfriend also had something to do with it.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that.
What I was thinking was that he thought that Andrea would be in his house because they were texting and shit about it.
Well, because the kidnappers told her that they were really there for the ex-girlfriend, right?
Exactly.
And it's supposed to be her.
Exactly. That is the reason that I don't think that it was him. The boyfriend.
I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence. I still think just because the way he was tied up and all that kind of stuff, like, and I don't know, his story just doesn't seem to add up. He's leaving something out. He's not being truthful about something.
There's too many there's too many links. Yeah, there's too many links missing from his story. But it's funny that you talk about that, Kevin, about police and them being human and sometimes not putting pieces together. That's actually going on right now in Tracy, California, which is 45 minutes from me. It started on the 5th of January and has gone all the way through to the 12th. There have been 5 mysterious deaths in Tracy, and only 2 of them, three, because one, a suspect's actually been arrested. But there's 2 others that one is definitely a homicide, but the other, they're not trying to say that this person was killed. They said, well, they died of natural causes. So let me Dirks. Um, but let me run this through for you, and then I'm fascinated to hear what you and Lav think about this, because I've been following it. So the first death happens on the 5th of January. A young woman is found along the side of a rural road and the area where she's found is all orchards. So it's almond orchards, walnut orchards. There's no fruit out that way. It's all nut trees. So see, I'm telling you, first it was cocks. Now I'm talking about nuts. I might end up semi being, well, I always say Kevin makes me question my sexuality. So yeah.
Well, I would like to comment on that, but I don't know like how. So
you don't know how to?
no, I mean like I don't know how that is, but it's a nice compliment. I appreciate it.
It's your personality.
Because I just don't
it's your
think
personality.
that. Yeah. I was just gonna say because I don't think that like I don't know. I have a I don't have a the best way to say it. I don't have a good view of myself. So yeah. So it's a nice compliment. It makes me feel warm inside.
Good. But so the intersection where this body was found is on Chrisman and Durham Ferry Road. So it's Durham Ferry Road is the highway, and then all of a sudden there's the little, like, you turn right little street. And a guy was driving by and thought he saw a mannequin. So fucking, typical. Oh, it's a mannequin. Who the hell throws mannequins out in the middle of an orchard?
Right. It's not like there's that many mannequins around that people throw away. That's not
No.
a regular. Those things are expensive. You super glue them back together.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a theme with like a lot of these stories. It's like I thought it was a mannequin, so I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
What?
So when the police show up and they start to investigate, they discover that it is a 31-year-old African-American woman. And they start trying to figure out her identity. And unfortunately, this young lady had a lot of mental health issues. She was a paranoid schizophrenic. She had a dissociative personality disorder, which hers was voices. It wasn't her feeling that she was somebody else. It was her feeling that others were with her, but she was the only one who could see them. And because of that, she had been hospitalized in and out around the area. And so they had her fingerprints. They were able to identify her very quickly as Denisha Watkins Rowe. She was originally from Fremont.
Yeah, she went missing a while ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like 2 years ago?
It was about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
During
All right,
found her body?
Yes.
How decomposed? It had to have been recent.
She was
if
not.
They thought it was okay.
No,
So
she was
somebody
not.
had her
So
for years?
no. Her mom Latanya said that Denisha had the habit of just wandering off, and she would be gone 2 and 3 weeks at a time, and then all of a sudden she'd either call or she'd show up on the doorstep like, hey, here I am. Mother would take her back in for a little bit. Something would happen either organically inside or in her environment that kind of prompted an episode, and she would take off again. So from this, she had been gone for they think 2.5 years. And then all of a sudden her mom gets a phone call. And she's talking to Denisha, and as she's talking to Denisha, which she hasn't said yet, but as she was talking to her, she heard what she identified to the police as her daughter being killed. And she says she heard that action happening and she'll never forget it.
How was she killed?
It's not been said.
Okay.
It's not been said. But I did some footwork, and Goddess is willing. Lav, you and I are going to get to talk to her.
Ooh.
Her and I have been messaging back and forth through email for the GoFundMe that was set up for the funeral costs. And so she's interested in doing it. I wanted to kind of surprise you with it a little bit because I was very happy when she messaged me back today and was like, yeah, I'm down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So after that, they find another body on the 11th of January. This one was in an irrigation ditch, just on the 1500 block of Tracy Boulevard. So like I'm sure you guys you have the main freeway, highway, and then you have the little ones that kind of branch off. And so with Tracy Boulevard, that's what happens is it branches off from the Interstate 5, and then it takes you on this extremely long journey, and then all of a sudden, you end up in town. So way out back by where all the industrials are and the farmland is, a farmer was digging a ditch for his irrigation, and he came across the body of a woman. And this is the part that I'm still racking my brain about. She was battered, naked, buried in an irrigation ditch, and the police said no foul play is expected or
She was
assumed.
buried and there's no foul play expected.
Naked,
what the fuck?
buried, beaten, but there's no foul play. And here we go. It continues in that same kind of vein. Is on the 10th, a male was found from Fremont, same age as Denisha. And he was found on Tracy Boulevard, closer to the city limit. And he was the victim of a hit and run.
And they left him there?
And they left him there, yeah. They hit him, took off, and nobody has any idea who, excuse me, who this guy, who it is. Kevin, you're going to have to edit out my hiccups.
Just leave them in. You know, this reminds me of the Gilgo Beach murders and how that guy's like, that's all over the news right now. This reminds me of that.
Next. Yeah. That dude, I know you guys have seen him. He's a monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then we go from that to the 12th of January, and they find a teenager in a car on Sugar Road. Sugar Road is one of those little tiny ones that takes you in between the orchards. So mostly it's used by the landowner to get his equipment down.
Okay. So
are all of these like in the general like same vicinity area? So you're saying like the orchards, the Denise was found in the orchard, right?
And
Yes.
this teenager girl was found in the orchard.
This one, no, it's a guy.
Okay.
But the female, yes, the female body
Was in the orchard?
Was in the orchard, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded an awful lot like the Gilgo Beach scenario.
Yeah.
So these deaths, it is basically a square, more like a rectangle. But within this rectangle, these 3 bodies have been found. Technically 4, because the hit and run, he was close to town, but he wasn't in town yet. So he was still technically in the rural area. The teenager who was on Sugar Road in his car, he was shot, and he was shot multiple times.
Wow.
And the only reason I believe, in my own opinion, that the suspect in that was even caught was because he turned himself in. I don't think that the Tracy Police Department or the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department had a fucking clue what had happened to this kid, other than the fact that he was in a car riddled with bullets.
Right.
Kind of sounds like he happened upon something happening. That's what it sounds like to me.
Right. I agree with that. He saw something he shouldn't have.
The guy that was arrested said he did not know this kid personally. So that right there tells you exactly. He either, this is my theory, he was either there to buy drugs and it was a drug deal gone bad, or he was out in the orchard doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing, stumbled upon a group of somebodies that was doing what they weren't supposed to be doing, and he got popped for it. So the last death just happened on the 21st. And about roughly 10 miles from where all of these other bodies have been found, they find a guy sitting within the Tracy Pavilion, which is, it's a strip mall. There's all kinds of little things in there. And somebody called emergency services because they see this guy in this car, and he doesn't look like he's moving around. He doesn't look conscious. So I don't know about on your guys' coast, but for our coast, when there's an emergency, the fire department shows up first. They are the first in the chain of first responders, because they are trained as EMTs, but since they show up first, then they send for a medical transport. So the EMTs stabilize the body. They put them into a medical transport with they're not paramedics. They would kind of be like the CNA to the nurse. They
Right.
have training to do things, but they're not a paramedic. And then after that is when the police show up to investigate. So a lot of times the body's already gone.
Yeah.
So
over here, everybody shows up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I think that's pretty similar to here.
and-
It just kind of depends on who's
Yeah.
closest. It could be
yeah,
it could be anybody showing up, to be real honest.
yeah, like, and like certain circumstances, I've personally seen like crashes and shit like that where there's
Mhm.
like some serious injuries and shit. Usually, and from what I've seen over on this side of this country, cops show up to regulate the scene to like, to give
Mm-hmm.
space, and
Traffic
then
control
fire
Yes.
department and
stuff,
EMT
yeah.
usually
Yes.
show up together.
Where I live in Hilmar, we're a small Portuguese dairy town, and so our police department is the Merced County Sheriff. And
Yeah.
Fun fact, I happened to actually be married to a sergeant with the Merced County's Sheriff Department.
Nice.
So when our name comes across any of the scanners, as soon as they hear Johan, we've got police, we've got fire, we've got CHP, because they all know each other. Because we're in such a small community, they all know each other. And we have an extremely low crime rate simply because almost everybody in town is either an officer, a farmer, or a fireman. And out here, we have stand your ground. So if you go onto a farmer's land, you're going to get popped. You mess around in a house, you're probably going to get popped. So, but out at Tracy, it didn't work out. It didn't work that way. So the fire department showed up first. They busted out the window and immediately said, natural causes. It's natural causes. The guy, this is the part that gets me. They said there's no sign of foul play. It's natural causes. We can send the body off. He was 35 years old, and the week before had been reported missing from the town just on the northern side of Tracy is Lathrop. And he was reported missing from there. And now a week later, he shows up dead in a car. How is that not foul play? How is that natural? Oh, because we don't see anything. You're not trained to see evidence. You are, and I respect our first responders. I've been one. I respect them greatly, but you do not have the right to turn around and say, because I don't see a gun, I don't see a crack pipe, I don't see a noose, it's not foul play.
Interesting.
And especially with fentanyl being the way it is right now, unless they autopsy him, they'll never know if he died of fentanyl, because fentanyl looks like a heart attack.
Hopefully the family does request the autopsy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think I think I think you have to do an autopsy all the time when you find a body.
No, if
No?
it's identified, no, if it's identified at the scene as not,
Yeah,
as
like
as
natural
not,
causes or something, then they
yeah,
don't have to. It's
Okay.
only if
and
they
they
can't
won't,
determine the cause of death,
I
right,
got
or
you.
if they suspect like
or
murder or something. Yeah.
like Denisha. There was a postmortem that was completed on her because it was obvious that something was wrong, but they didn't, that it wasn't natural. There was foul play. So that was done. Um, Unfortunately, for Denisha's poor mom, Denisha was 31 years old at her time of passing. So she was hospitalized. That was where she'd called her mom the first time from. And then she was released. But because she is an adult, nobody was required to let her mom know, to notify her mom that she was out. You have a severely mentally ill young lady. And she was tiny. If you see pictures of her, she's tiny. And it was so easy to lure her. Her mother did say that Denisha, she felt safe with men. So a lot of times when Latanya had to go pick up Denisha from somewhere, a lot of times it was she approached somebody in a bar or she approached somebody in a park and, hey, you're cute. Do you have your own place? Can I stay with you? I don't even want somebody parking next to me, let alone, come up and say, hey, can I come stay at your place?
Right.
Hey guys, I'm Tara.
And Mara.
And together we are Scary Tales and Serials. We are two best friends, ghost hunters, and moms who know all too well that mama ain't easy. So we do this to relax and unwind. We communicate with spirits because, let's face it, they're the only ones that truly listen anyway. If you like the paranormal, all things spooky, true crime, and downright murderous tales, then you're in the right place. Join us on our spooky adventure. Each episode, we tell you a story and use humor and some great banter to keep the craziest stories light. We share tales of our ghost hunting adventures and hot takes on some of the wildest cases out there. With our episodes, you may hit a range of emotions, laughing, horror, anger, and even some tears depending on the case, but we promise we keep it fun. Tara, that's me, is the self-proclaimed overachiever, delving deep into the cases to uncover as many facts as possible, and Mara sprinkles in the razzle-dazzle with her wit and humor. There is something for everyone with us. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and just about anywhere you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow us on our socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Give us a listen and tell your friends. We hope to see you there. Until next time.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
I don't understand what's going on in this town because Tracy has never had this kind of problems. Now, I work in Stockton. Stockton, if you look, is like one of the worst. It's on the United States list of like the worst place to be.
No shit.
Yeah. And actually last year we had a serial killer in Stockton. So we're going to talk about that. Cause I was fuck in the middle of it. There were a couple times, while I was working, I drove right by crime scenes of where this dude had taken somebody out. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But it's never had that kind of reputations, never had that kind of, and then now all of a sudden, in less than a month, we've got 5 deaths.
Well, when I Googled Tracy, California, I came up with a website talking about how it was the Night Vale, and pretty much like where it was located was like the Twilight Zone, and all this weird stuff happens. And this lady was talking about this weird implant that got put in her face, and then she went to a different dentist, and the other dentist was like, I don't even know what kind of metal this is. And just weird things.
Oh my god.
There you go, Kev.
You guys
There's
got aliens out there.
There's a conspiracy right there.
Yeah, this sounds a lot like a fishy California government out there, bro.
Yeah.
Right? He got it from Area
Tracy has
51.
yeah. Truthfully, Tracy has a defense depot. Where, and then we have Livermore, that's literally 10 miles or less from Tracy, and you have Livermore Labs. So we do have these 2 very large institutions that are working with very dangerous material.
Interesting.
And the defense depot, they employ both military and non-military individuals. And it was, I was a teenager, and there was a man that was accused of selling. I wish I could remember what it was, what kind of weapon it was, but he was trying to sell it to North Korea.
I think I heard that story. I can't remember either what he was trying to sell.
But he
That's
thought he was talking to a military representative from North Korea, and he was actually talking to one of the shift leaders, one of the managers from the damn depot. You're talking to somebody that fucking works with you, you idiot.
That was recently, right?
Jesus Christ.
No.
No,
It was a good 20, 25 years ago. Because I was a teenager.
Recently, there was a Navy guy, that sold information to China for I don't know, less than $10,000. And I was like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Is this the guy that during the balloon, the weather balloon? Is that what you're talking about?
No, what I was talking about was recently, within the past couple months, that they caught him.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So you're stupid, dude.
Weather balloon.
Yeah,
oh, you don't know? You don't know about that?
No.
Go for it, Kev.
What? Wait, what? What? I'm
weather
sorry.
Balloon.
About the weather
balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so he was he wasn't selling anything to another country. This guy had information that on the balloon that he had from our own government, and he was basically gonna whistleblow, and they basically made him look like a bad guy kind of thing in the media.
I get that.
Yeah. So I think me personally, I think he was trying to be helpful, and they got a hold of him because I don't know. I don't trust any of these 3-letter agencies. I don't trust our government anymore. I haven't for a while.
No.
There's I mean, the people that are supposedly in charge, the commander in chief and his right hand, can't even give you real answers to any real questions or real problems. Like Kamala Harris was just on The View, and they're asking her like real questions, and she's just dancing around the answer. Like she's not giving an actual answer. She's just talking, which makes zero sense to me. But
Well,
you know,
she's
I
just
also
hoping
don't trust.
to avoid answering it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, basically.
I mean, it's
Like I
clear
can't
that
remember the exact questions right off the top of my head, but they asked her like a specific question, and she started talking about abortion rights, and then they asked her another question, and she started talking, and then it came back to abortion rights, and I was just like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah,
Like,
that's like
there's
a
more
clear
like
sign they know.
abortion, like yeah, like I get the abortion rights thing, like I get that, but there's like real other issues like I feel that are a little bit more important to me anyway. Maybe not necessarily to other people, but she was basically saying that all the states all around the world are worried. All the states in the country are worried about abortion rights, which I don't think every state is, but I get that some
No.
states may be. But you know, me personally, I'm more worried about, you know, our economy.
Right.
Yes.
I'm more
Yes.
worried about if there's going to be a future for our children. I'm more worried about the curriculum in schools for our children. I'm more worried about how what the like I said, the future that is going to look like for our children. Like I want to keep I think children should be kept as innocent as possible for as long as they possibly can. Not to be sheltered, but I don't know, like they're sexualized way too early. I was
I
not
was.
no fault of my own, but um I don't know, there's the missing kids all the time, our open borders. And you know, when I talk about the borders, everybody's like, "Oh, Trumper, Trump, the blah 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 blah." Listen, I don't trust that motherfucker either. Like, I'm not affiliated with either side. I'm a human being that wants to live in a free country, and right now it's not very free. I mean, we work, pay
No.
taxes. Like if we
Yeah.
didn't work, we would owe taxes and then we'd owe back taxes. We own land, but we don't really own the land because if we don't pay taxes, the land can be taken from us.
Government
And I
Right.
know
comes and
this is
takes it right away.
yeah, and I know this is a tangent that has nothing to do with what we were previously talking about, but when I get on this the subject of our government or any government, I kind of like I don't trust any of them. You know what I mean? Um, Basically, there's something interesting with the Israel and Palestine thing. I don't trust anybody who says they're above God, and the Star of David being on your flags basically is saying that you're the God. Um, Not that fuck. Now I totally lost my train of thought where I was going with that, but um,
But it actually does have to do with what we were just talking about, because think about it. Here we have these 5 deaths. They all happen in like rapid fire speed, and you have a very small police force now, um, because of the defunding, because of the budgets of these
yeah,
towns, of the smaller towns. They're not able to have as many um, law enforcement officers
And they don't
as if
provide the
they
training. They're not getting trained to even handle these situations.
no, no. They literally are coming out of a 6 to 8 month academic program. They're thrown into a uniform. They're thrown on the street and said, "Hey, try not to get your ass shot off."
yeah,
And that's our government.
and then yeah. And then they're expected to be held at this high standard when
Mhm.
like I was saying in the beginning of this episode, they're human too. They have human problems. Like I get don't take your personal shit to work, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can't avoid shit sometimes.
Yeah, I
You
mean
know,
it
they
happens.
literally deal with stupid people all day long. So when they get to you and they've already had enough of what they've been dealing with all day, and they're a little, brass with you, and then everybody takes it so fucking personally.
I mean, we all do that, You get mad at your kids or your partner or whatever, and then turn around and somebody calls you. I do it all the time. I'm like, what the fuck do you want? And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, my bad. My bad. That I wasn't angry at you. But I mean, we all
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's something I have to be very cognizant of, is that my social meter will deplete just quickly, because I deal with people all day long. When I was in healthcare,
Ugh.
it was the same thing. And
Mhm.
you may get lucky and start your day out with someone that's really nice, and hey, these parts are heavy, let me help you put them in your car. And before lunchtime, you've had 5 assholes that have given you shit that's covered in nasty smelling, feeling stuff. And then my wife will call to check on me, and I'll be a little bit too harsh. Or my best friend will call and want to talk about a customer, because a lot of them, we know them as friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm notorious for biting somebody's head off, and then later thinking about it and like, I'm really sorry. And I kind of feel that's what happens with our police force, especially out here right now, because we do not have the county nor state budgets to properly train, properly compensate, and properly staff our law enforcement agencies. So, like you were saying, you know, you're dealing with people all day long. They're being jerks to you. They spit on you. They throw shit at you. They shoot at you. But these men and women are expected to be nothing but professionals, and they're not supposed to react.
Mhm.
And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen from the top of our government all the way down to the guy driving the truck that's sweeping the street, where you have the idiot that flew past him and about took him out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I get that. I like I do think therapy is, good for our boys, men and women in blue. Um I think they do like utilize that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, my buddy is friends with a cop in this town, and he had him on his podcast when he was doing his podcast. He's not anymore, but he's like, I went from, a situation, a car accident, and I was dealing with a car accident. Then I went to another call where um, this woman was accusing her boyfriend of beating the shit out of her. She didn't have any marks, and then or anything or any bruising. And he's like, I physically couldn't tell that this actually happened, and I told her that I couldn't tell, and she's basically went up and down each and every side of me, and basically like belittled him in every which way. And then from that call, he went to another call where it was a youth that was fighting with his mother, and he had barricaded himself in his room, and he went upstairs to the bedroom to talk to the kid, and he heard what sounded like the cock of a shotgun. And so he pulled out his gun, and the mother's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" You don't know. He's like, I told the kid to come out like several times. He's like, I was almost gonna shoot through that door before he could shoot at me, and then come to find out, he goes, I decided not to fire, and I ended up putting my gun back. And he goes, and then the kid opened the door and he came out, and there was no gun in the bedroom. And he goes, and I could have just shot because it sounded like a gun
Yeah.
was in there. You know?
Yeah.
And I think like anger management for a lot of people, like I feel like we need to get back to a place where we can just be like, I have a problem with crowds. I don't like people, and that's just me. But I'm still friendly when I'm around them. I hold open doors for people, no, regardless of age or gender. Um, and I don't know, like I can't walk across the street without waving at somebody that just stopped so that I can fucking cross the street. And
Yeah.
I see that time and time again. People will walk through the door that I just opened for them, not say a fucking word, not even look at me. People that fucking cross the road without even fucking looking at me or waving at me. It bothers me, but like I don't take it personally. Like they're just in their own world.
Yeah.
But I will say, I I've done a lot of therapy in this like spiritual journey in this past year, 2, maybe almost 3 years now. And I've done therapy and stuff. And I used to be like extremely like an angry person, especially through my teens. And I ended up doing cage fighting for a little bit because I just wanted to hurt people. You know what I mean? Like I really, really wanted to hurt people physically and get that out. And I think it was last year. It might have been a year and a half ago now. Yeah, I think it was 2022. I pulled into the gas station was super busy, and I pulled into the gas station, and I got out. And as I got out, this guy comes running up, screaming at me. He's a little bit older than me, probably like mid 40s or ish, and he's yelling at me that I just cut him off. And I was like, "What are you talking about? I didn't see you." And then he starts going on about, oh, these fucking kids today, no fucking respect. They don't fucking know this. They don't fucking know that. And he's yelling and he's getting closer to me as he's yelling. And it feels like maybe like 5 minutes. This is probably only a couple seconds of him yelling. And I already have the nozzle in my gas tank and it's already pumping. And he's probably about 2 feet away from me. And I just lean in and I go, what the fuck did I say? Sorry. I said, "Oh, um, keep fucking around, and you're gonna turn me back to the old me." Like really quietly, and he just stared at me, and he goes, "Okay," and then he walked back to his car, and that was that of that altercation. Like usually, if somebody was yelling at me nonstop, I would have just knocked him out. And then I had another situation recently where the guy cut me off. I blew the horn at him, told him that he was in the wrong lane to be turning, and he like just threw his arms out. And I called him a fucking dipshit. And then he tried to get out of the car, and I was like, "Get back in your car." And then he sat there in the middle of traffic where I couldn't go, and I was in my work truck. And I got so fucking like this was the maddest I've ever been at a random person before in my life. Well, recently I should say. And I got out and I said, "If you don't fucking move, I'm gonna knock you out." Like I've done like all this work, and the fact that I just told this random person for an insignificant thing, and this was right before I went on vacation to Florida, so I think I really needed this vacation or that vacation. And I was like, "You fucking better fucking move, or I'm gonna knock you the fuck out." And he goes, "Oh yeah," and I go, "Yeah," and he gets out. And he goes, "Well, handle your business then." And like as he gets out, I don't think he realized how big I was compared to him. And he got out, stepped out of his car, and like looked at me like up and down, and then he like stepped backwards. I was like, I probably shouldn't hit you. I was like, because I could kill you. And then he got back in his car.
Well,
And then I got back in mine.
I know you and I have talked about, I don't know, Lav, if you know about this. I was at a gas station last year, and I got jumped by 3 people, and one of them wasn't even associated with the other 2. The simple fact of the matter is I have pale skin. They did not. And I had the audacity to stand up to this woman and tell her, "No, you're not going to steal my gas. What the fuck are you doing?" And she comes at me, and then the guy that's across the gas station comes up behind me, and before I know it, I've got 3 people on me.
Wow.
And I got the shit beat out of me, but this again circles back to our government because my right orbital socket was busted. I had head injuries, big ass black eye. There at the gas station, there were security cameras everywhere because it's also a car wash. So the truthfully, the cameras were to watch the car wash guys to be sure they weren't stealing and shit. And so we called the police, went to the emergency room. The cop tells me, "Oh yeah, well we're going to find him. Here's my card, blah blah blah. Call in about a week." I called. No, we don't have any leads. And it was a month to a month and a half later. I went back to that gas station and I asked the guy in there. I said, "Did anybody ever come and ask for your security tapes?" And he said, "No, and I've been waiting for them," because he was there the day that it happened.
Wow.
And so I called Stockton PD again, and he said, "I'm going to level with you. You are like the 6,000th person that's had something happen to him. And you're alive and you're walking around, so you're not much of a priority."
Wow.
And
you guys have had
he,
the weirdest gas station experiences. Mine are all cool. It's like, hey, beautiful, let me pay for your gas.
Yeah,
I love
Lavender
the
gets
gas
dates at
station.
the gas station. She was just telling me the other day she gets dates from the grocery store. So, like, what the
you
fuck?
know what? That's a thing. Like, I mean,
No, it's not a thing. I'm
it
never
is. I
dating
mean,
anybody from the grocery store again. Fuck them.
No, like I have men that'll come up to me and look into my grocery cart and be like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And I actually had a guy one time in Costco. He's like, plus size women are amazing because they can cook.
Interesting.
And I looked at him and I said, "Well, how do you know I'm the one that cooks?" He said, "Because no man could take care of a woman like you and not cook and this and that, right?" And I said, "Well, my wife does a really good job of taking care of me." And I don't think he heard the whole sentence because I got wife out and he was gone.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh Lord.
I never get fucking hit on anywhere in public.
I'll hit on you.
Okay.
Shit, I'll hit on you. It's not going to
I mean,
go
well,
anywhere, but
you do. I'm trying to think. Like, I
Loud,
don't
do you
think.
hit on
Yeah.
Kevin? Do you hit on Kevin? Do you?
I'm pretty sure I have at some point.
She did. She did in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Oh.
I did.
There is nothing wrong with that, girl. You harness that power, you become that goddess, and fucking take off and rule.
We went bowling too.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
And I did awful.
You did terrible. Yes.
I did. I warned you.
Yep.
I was going to make a ball handling joke right there, but
I may have handled some balls.
I was going to say, I hope that there was a set, probably not as big as a 9 or 13 pounder, but hey.
Oh Lord. Oh God.
They do have a medical diagnosis that's called elephantitis, and elephantitis mostly strikes men, and it is where their legs will swell to the point that you can't even tell that they have feet or ankles or knees or anything. And in the very worst cases, then when they don't get them taken care of, that will affect their scrotum. And yeah, I've seen some like 5-pound balls, and it is not. These poor guys are in so much pain.
I can imagine.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Let's Talk About.
My name's Liam.
And my name's Billy.
And on this podcast, we have absolutely no limits whatsoever.
Genuinely, no topic is off limits for us.
We speak about ghosts, aliens, supernatural, and much more.
We want to get you guys involved as much as possible with our podcast journey. Every Sunday, we'll have a brand new episode, and we'll even let you guys decide on some of those episodes or what happens in them.
So far, we've spoken about ghosts, aliens, zombies, and even a talking mongoose.
Can't be the talking mongoose. Follow and subscribe to Let's Talk About.
I can imagine. That's crazy. I don't think I would. I'd probably, I'd probably do something to myself. Being honest.
Yeah.
I've done wound care for a couple guys that did not want to deal with it because they were so heavy and so painful, and ended up with stitches. And they almost went from altos to sopranos.
You're making my balls hurt, man.
That it makes my balls hurt, and I don't even have any.
Jesus. Oh my God, I can't imagine. Oh man, I saw there was like a TV series on a guy that had just like he didn't have elephantitis or anything like in his legs. He just had like these like really big balls. He had to have like special pants made so that they would go into like a pocket or some shit like that. I was like, what the fuck is this? That's crazy.
So I worked with a doctor at an ER. It was I was the one that checked you in. So and he came in, when he was in his scrubs, he looked normal. And he came in one afternoon, and he was in regular pants. And I kid you not, for the middle part of his zipper, all you saw was this. And then to the side, all you saw was like the arm. And I'm not one to, I say what's on my mind. And if that's offensive, then tough shit, you shouldn't be talking to me. And I went to him and straight up asked him, how in the hell is that showing in your jeans, but not in a pair of fucking scrubs? And he said that he buys scrubs and then he takes them to a seamstress who puts a netting in it, kind of like swimsuit that has the netted underwear. And there's one on each side of his pants. And so whichever side it ends up leaning towards, he can slip it right into that netting. And then it just looks like it's part of his leg.
That is crazy.
Do you have his phone number?
I can take you to the hospital. And we will, he may still be working, but I don't know. I don't even know how old he is now, because he was kind of old when I was young.
Oh no, I don't want saggy balls. No, never mind.
Oh,
I retract that statement. I don't want his number.
That becomes a no, thank you.
Right.
No, thank you.
Actually, I have been hit on in public, and it was by a man. And he wasn't actually hitting on me. He was just complimenting me. So
you got a bubble
guy
butt?
came up to me. So I became friends with this guy at the gym, and he told me that I had a girl butt one day, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
You do kind of have a girl
That's
butt.
interesting.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Fine, I accept. But this other time, this guy came up to me in the gym. He goes, "Hey, you look good." And I go, fuck, what the fuck? Okay, thanks. And he's like, "Your legs are huge." And I go, "Yeah, thanks. I mean, leg days, And then he goes, "How much you weigh?" I was like, 225. And he goes, Mike Tyson in his prime was 224. I was like, oh, cool. And then we just talked about fucking weightlifting for like 20 minutes, and then he just like walked off. I was like, that was fucking weird.
Well, I can understand that. I can see that because you're in the gym, you're working out, you got your
Yeah.
little outfit on. So I don't even know if that was kind of a sexualized thing or it was just
I don't think.
a fucking muscle head that went up and was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, hey, dude.
Yeah. He was definitely broing out, and I was just like, I'm not a bro, man. I'm just
Wow.
But yeah, no. I mean, it was nice. I appreciate it. Like, it was not sexual on his part. But it was just like the initial like start of the conversation. I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? You know what I mean? But I mean, I wear like tight sweatpants to the gym, so you can kind of like see everything in a way.
Lab, do
So
you have his number? Because I think we
do.
could get it. Do you have his number? Okay. I just heard tight sweatpants and the little
and they're gray too.
Oh, the gray ones. Those are the
Okay,
best.
what is that thing? Please tell me. Please educate this little lesbian kitchen witch. What the fuck is it about gray sweats and a man? Because that's all the girls at work talk about.
Because
So
the
what
gray
is it?
sweatpants, you can see their junk the best in. Something to do with the gray color, the shadows and stuff. You can like really see everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains
I've
why.
posted.
That explains why I don't know a
posted.
fucking thing about it.
Yeah, I posted a video
you
of me.
noticed baby arm guy.
What?
Okay, but because I was sitting in a chair and he walked up and all you see is this just blah. And it's like, oh, hey, that wasn't there on the shift late yesterday. So the fuck is that?
What the fuck? Did you bring an animal to work today?
Right.
Excuse me, sir. I think you're supposed to leave that hammer in the car when you come into, we need you to put your Slim Jim away because you're not going to be cracking open any windows.
Oh man.
Well, as much as I love both of you, which I do, I adore you guys. I think you're so much fun to listen to talk to. I mean, like Lav and I will have like these cool little conversations, and then we'll record, and then we have like another cool conversation after.
I know. We're like end up like recording for like 3 hours, and we only end up with like an hour worth of an episode because we just bullshitted for 2 hours before we actually recorded.
And that's something that I did want to bring up with Kevin when we came on with him. When I approached her about doing it, I'm like, man, she's gonna think I'm a fucking weirdo. She's gonna think I'm coming on to her or something. And then I said, well, let's get to know each other. So we have a conversation as I'm driving home from work. And I just start telling her all these ideas about episodes that I want to hear but nobody's doing them. So if it's something she was interested in, we could do this together. We could set ourselves apart. Kind of like how yours, Kev, is apart from others because you don't have one set topic. And so it kind of appeals to everybody. And that was something I wanted to do, is appeal to the true crime paranormal communities to where they're like, you know what? They may be talking about the same subjects, but they're set so far apart because I don't know these cases, or I knew them, but I didn't know that much. And within that, we developed this really cool friend chemistry that was there was never an awkward moment.
No.
And so I think that once I get the technical side down, we're going to be unstoppable.
You want to know what? I will say this too. It's really interesting the amount of people that I've come across since I've started doing this podcast. People that weren't podcasters and who are currently now are. And you fall into that category because I mean you've only done 2 episodes, but you're doing it. You know, you're still a podcaster now. David became a podcaster. After after I met him and started talking to him. Bobby was thinking about, not continuing his podcast until I had him on the show.
Oh,
And
really?
he said some like when I went on to his show and he did an intro about me and it was super nice. I love that guy. And who else? There's some other people that kind of like just like I don't know. Everybody's blossoming, and I'm just feel blessed and extremely happy to be able to witness all of it. You know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you're doing great
appreciate
things
that.
too.
Yeah,
You've
and I
got
started
you've got all
listening to
kinds of stuff in the
Lavender.
works.
Yeah, I started listening to Lavender like randomly because I was looking for podcasts. So I started listening to her podcast before I ever even started following her on Instagram, and then I started following her on Instagram. And then I don't even remember how we started talking. I think I just was like, "Hey, you want to be on my show because I know you've seen some shit because you say it in your podcast." I think that's
Yeah,
like I think that's how our relationship started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I ignored you because you asked me a couple times to come on your show.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. I probably did. Probably. I'm probably too busy with all your mans. With all your
With
man
all my
stuff.
mans. What mans?
All your mans. All your
mans.
And your photo shoots, you know.
I know. I do a lot of photo shoots.
You know what? Yeah, let's don't talk about those because I have to look at them like a straight woman.
You don't have to look at it any kind of way. You
I
look
can
at it the
send
way
you
you
the
want.
really good ones.
Do you want me to get divorced?
No.
Oh. No.
I've done like full nudes.
Okay, Kevin, now she's trying to get me to get on a plane. You know, I do got an airport that's like 25 minutes from me. I bet you I could get a red eye.
Oh, did I show you those, Kevin?
What?
Did I show you those?
Nudes?
Yeah.
No, you sent me one. Well, it was close. Because I think we were talking about your photo shoots, and then you sent me a bunch of them, and this one of them was a risque, but it wasn't nude.
No, then you haven't seen them.
No. So,
Well,
but it was close.
I'm telling you, the photo shoot in the hockey jersey. I'm a hockey fan. All of a sudden, I like hockey. I've never seen a game, but I'm number one right there fan. Well, okay, so you were talking about how you guys kind of meshed together, how you came. I was coming across looking for podcasts, talking with, some of our friends, mutual friends that are podcasters.
Yep.
And I come across this, I'm not, it was a reel or a video or something of this very pretty blonde in a bathtub.
Oh.
And I jumped out of the car and I ran over to my best friend and I showed her my phone. I said, I think I'm in love.
Oh.
And she looked at me and she said, you better get your ass back in that car and go home. But
that's funny.
But truthfully, I think we should compliment each other. Women should compliment women. We don't need to be competition for each other. No matter what your sexual orientation is. We should lift each other up. Same thing with men. Lesbian women should never be never feel threatened by a man simply because they have the same interests or attractions that a man does, but they don't have the same motives or equipment. We should all, and podcasting community as well. I'm going to leave you guys with this. And I believe that if we embraced each other and lifted each other up, then our world would naturally start to evolve into a place where everybody wanted to live. And I discovered that after I survived my suicide attempt. It truly gave me a new lease on life because I stood back and looked at it, and I was able to see the beauty through the darkness. And I hope that for everybody, and not to go through something traumatic, to see it.
Yeah, I feel the same. Especially after I tried twice, contemplated a third. So, I've been there too. And that's what I really like to focus on with the show too, because mental health is extremely important, and I don't think it's treated very well.
It's definitely not
in this country. I
not
don't know
at
about
all.
any other country because I don't live in any other country. I live in this one. And I don't think it's treated as well as it could be. It's a lot better than it used to be, but we're still not there. You know what I mean? And then especially with like the stigma of like these paranormal experiences that people have, they're labeled as crazy immediately, especially in therapy. So like the therapeutic stigma, I would like to get rid of, and like be for like these experiences, for these people that have these experiences, to be taken seriously like
Right.
it actually happened. Because whether it didn't happen or it did happen,
To
it's
them,
not
it
really
happened.
for a therapist to really tell them
Right.
that it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
mean,
I
to
don't feel
them, it
like it's their
happened.
place.
It was real, so it should be
Right.
treated as real, regardless
Exactly.
of what anybody else thinks.
And who's that
Right.
therapist to look someone in the face and say, that never happened? You don't know. You weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin, I'm glad that the goddesses did not allow you to go. The world is such a better place with you in it. You have opened doors for people. And I know when I was watching you on YouTube, and I kept thinking to myself, man, I want to be that kind of interviewer. And so when I've approached, I'm not going to say everybody, but there's been a few people I've approached about coming on to the podcast and letting us interview them. And I just channel your energy. And the first thought in my mind is make them feel comfortable and then let them just go with it. So thank you for being that kind of example and being a role model that way.
You will make him cry.
I was just gonna say that. What the fuck?
Aw. We love you, Kevin.
Thanks.
We do. We do.
I appreciate you guys, and thank you for coming on. Riverside's gonna shut me off at 2 hours, so we got like 12 minutes. But
well, I've got
yes.
I've got a 17-year-old in the hallway, pacing back and forth, and all I can hear is stomp, stomp. I'm hungry. Stomp, stomp. I'm hungry.
Damn kids. All right. Well, just let everybody know where they can find you guys in the name of the podcast one more time.
All right. So we're early on Wednesday, and we are on Instagram, Facebook. You can, I think, pretty much anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can find us. And like all the details for email and all that kind of stuff is in the show notes to the episodes. So you can look us up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever you want to do. Email me, email Stacy, message us if you have anything you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Reach out to Kevin. He knows how to get hold of us both.
Yes. As well, we're going to be starting a YouTube channel. very soon.
I like that.
We're gonna have lots of
and
titties.
Yeah. That's like a dream come true. Just to be in this room, just I love you guys.
Well, I love you guys.
Bye.
All right. Well, guys, that is the show. I hope you enjoyed it, and like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review, and go check out Early on Wednesday, please, pretty please. Go check out the website too. Also Patreon if you're interested, only $5 a month. But other than that, question everything and stay weird.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.
Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky. When the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day, make a wish.